Red alert, RBT snaps and chats. Today, we're coming to you with level 6 on stress in our community, amongst ourselves, and in our youth. I got my guest here with me today, Anthony Allen. Thank you, Anthony, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Under the circumstances, we're experiencing so much technical difficulties all day today that is really stressing all of us out. So we're going to change it up just a little bit and talk about some of that momentarily. But before we start, as always, I want to give a shout out to James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and George F. Grundy of George F. Grundy II of Out of the Mud Inc. I got to always remember that. So what I'm going to do here is read something really quick, as I always do. These are called my true statements, and this is the number 1. Things that life throws your way tend to change a few steps you make in life. It depends on you and yourself to control the environment you dwell in and the path you are bound to take. When you allow certain issues of life cast a shadow over you, it's hard to see the light. Sometimes the tunnel vision of our hearts leads us on a high-speed chase. High-speed chase. Anthony, today has been one very trying day for myself, and I know it has been for you.
It has.
Man.
It tried to be.
It tried to be.
Yeah.
I think we're trying to beat down stress.
Yeah.
We're going to figure out how to do this.
Yeah. We ain't going to let it.
Let's not do this. Today, we had a lot of things to talk about for level 6, but again, due to our circumstances, we're going to get right to the meat of the sandwich and figure out what we can do amongst each other to try to relieve some of this and also help you relieve some. One of the things I want to talk about is how stressful it is to see our local schools closed around us with no hope of reopening. Does anybody think that that's going to be stressful for the kids? They're all jammed up into one school. They're trying to do these internationals and all these. There's not very many local public schools for children to go to.
Yeah, and it's probably not too stressful for children, to see the schools closed because, they weren't schools that most schools just closed. The schools that the parents went to. Yeah, so.
Yeah. But, that's where we got a lot of our education and ingenuity from.
Yeah.
That's when I think a lot of the teachers in our community really care for you as if you were their own child. And I'm not saying there's teachers out here that don't care at all, but due to stress with the job, things that alter your day, all these things are factoring why people are changing, why our community is changing.
Yeah.
We got to figure out a way to get it back right, to get it together. Without being so hard on each other or harsh on ourselves. Stress is bad enough.
Yeah. And, I think just the environment that the children are growing up in, they're, they become accustomed to them,
That's not always good, though.
It's not. We read, some of my frat brothers and I read some books to some kids at one of the local schools earlier. When that was at the end of last week.
Okay.
And some of the classrooms we went in, it was only like 5 or 6 students in the class. Yeah, it was disheartening.
It's diminishing.
Yeah, because I'm thinking when I went to school here, it's 30, 35, 40 kids in the class.
Yeah.
That may seem like
teachers.
A lot. Some of them had 2 teachers.
Yeah.
That may seem like a lot now, and it probably is a lot now. They have 30 or 40 kids in one class, but I mean, that's how we came up. We had a big variety and personalities.
There's a missing link somewhere, because when I look at kids nowadays, most of the kids when we grew up had things to do outside.
Yeah,
places to go that were safe.
Right.
Now we got kids coming up missing, falling in the rivers, unattended. It's so many things that's causing people to be stressed and have anxiety about their own children, trying to keep them in a house or protect them. When does overprotecting become anxiety? Does it actually come anxiety for some people? Does it be stress for some people to go out their way to make sure a child is safe?
I couldn't imagine the stress that's associated with going to school these days, because I mean, although it was 100 years ago when I was in school, we didn't have to worry about school shootings and
That part.
and coming through metal detectors and all the stuff that they have to deal with today. So I mean,
it's necessary in some cases.
Yeah.
But how did we get to this point? How?
Mm.
I mean, what happened in our culture and our life that has caused each and every one of us to basically overlook the fact that we need to get back to basics and teaching our kids how to love on each other, not feud and fight, start in the home, stop doing so much in front of our children. I really think that some kids get stressed out by what adults do around them.
Oh, absolutely. The kids come to school. I had a conversation with some friends of mine a few months back, where kids were coming to school misbehaving, and I just happened to be driving down the street one morning, and a guy was next to me, and there was so much smoke in his car that you could hardly see him, but he was dropping the child off, and so the child is in the car with you while you're smoking. And so they inhaling all of that, and then you come to class, and then they get to school, and you wonder why they acting the way they do. It's because they high. You know what I mean?
That's not funny. I'm laughing because it's sickening to know that, because I think that when they made the rule about smoking cigarettes in the car, I think they meant no smoking at all. And
you can't smoke in the car?
They tell people not to smoke in the car with kids. You don't remember those commercials? That one kid was like, "I smoke a pack a day."
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, certainly not smoking. That because you get contacts. If you smoking weed in the car, windows, all the windows up. I mean, I'm not saying the smoking with your windows down, but if you're smoking and all of that's contained in the car, and then you got a child in there, and they breathing all of that in, and then they get out and go to school, and they act a fool, and they doing what you do when you high.
Right. And I told a true story last night at Queen's Provision at the Passages, which is a storytelling program that I'm proud to be a part of, where the true story that I told was how I think as a child learning and watching my parents drink alcohol, how that impacted and affected my life growing up. And I know that it's a lot of kids other than just myself that had endured that. And I'm just trying to think of ways, like when I think about my past and what I've been through, I try to better ways that kids around me don't have to go through that, because I believe they are our future. They are going to learn from us to be better or be worse.
Did that make you want to drink?
When I was younger?
Watching your parents drink?
No, it was a way of ignoring the fact that I was hungry because we couldn't eat. We didn't have food. Or if we did have food, it was scarce. And there was a lot of people in the house.
You said watching them. No, I'm saying, well, like when you saw your parents drinking, did that make you want to drink, or did it make you not want to drink?
I really can't answer that, because I didn't intend on ever drinking. I didn't intend on paying attention to them doing it to cause me to do that. And just one day, my brother and I was hungry, and we took some bologna and put it on a fork and stuck it over the fire over the gas stove, while my mother and them were all partying, God rest their soul, having a great time and drinking. And we were hungry, but we were confined to upstairs. We couldn't do much. So when we were thirsty, we was like, well, my brother was like, we're going to go get that drink out the refrigerator. When he opened it up, we were young. We didn't think about it being beer, but I knew it looked like the cans on the table that the people were drinking. And next thing I know, we're giving it to my 4-year-old brother, and we're up here dancing and having a great time.
Wow.
Because this is the environment we lived in. And unfortunately, it never got sought out by our parents because they were already involved and engaged. So I worry about other kids like that now. What are they doing when they see these things? How are they responding? Because I know what I did.
Yeah.
So now I feel that all the things that I've been through, I'm putting it in books like this of mine to let people know that they're not by themselves. They may not want to read that book, but somebody else may read something in that book and tell somebody else something. There's a lot of good things in there, not just I'm saying it because it's mine, but it helps me too. Some of them things I wrote, I had to go back and reread it. Like, it was nothing but the divine. I know it because how did I know to write these things at a certain age? Especially in this book. I was really young, very young. This has stuff in there that ain't got nothing like this. So, I'm proud of it. I don't display it as much, but I'm proud of it because it's a part of me. But being stressed out as a child myself with depression, I never thought about suicide, but I was imploding for being stressed in the world. And I just need to know that, myself, I'm doing this because I don't want to be by myself. I know it's somebody else going through what I'm going through. And where there's two or more, you got more power in the mind, more things to think about, more avenues to go after, more opportunities.
Yeah.
You try to do it by yourself, what happens? You stress yourself out more.
More stress. Yep.
Anxiety kicks in.
Yeah. Well, as much as y'all can, talk about what happened today. As much as you can.
Oh, well, we can do that a lot. Okay. Yes. So today, the stress of, as what Mr. Anthony said today, he said, when you're stressing and you're doing things so fast, you were in the middle of something, you got done with it. I can tell the story. How you felt before you got here.
As much as you can.
Well,
Lay it
I
out
was,
there.
yeah, right.
Lay it out there.
Listen, I was knee deep in some work, working on the rental house today. And then you called me about, or text me about
4:40.
4:40.
Yeah, almost 5.
Yeah, close to 5 o'clock about being here today at 5:30, which I didn't know I was supposed to be here today at 5:30. So we had a miscommunication on that, but it immediately raised my anxiety because I had to stop doing what I was doing, pack up all my tools, I had to go home, change, get cleaned up, and it wasn't until I remembered that a lot of the things that we talk about is stress, and I felt like at that moment I was being stressed. So I stopped. I sat down on the couch and just said, "Wait a minute, let me cool out. This ain't no emergency."
Correct.
And so I sat down for a moment just to just to get my feet up under me, and then I got myself back together, got here to be here at what 5:30, and then we didn't start until what 6:30.
About
12 minutes, 13 minutes.
13 minutes.
13 minutes. Yeah. So
due to technical difficulties.
Yeah. No fault of anybody's, But well, for me, it was the technical difficulties was a calming moment for me because it just allowed me to to
reset.
I'm just I'm cooling, what I'm saying. But it was just the fact that I got my anxiety was getting up and I recognized it.
Thank goodness.
And
I wasn't testing you for real or anything. I wasn't testing you.
I appreciate that.
I was going through my own stress as well. I started out with a good day today, went to work, got ready to get out of work. I knew I needed breaks. It was a nice day outside, trying to save a little money to get the breaks done. And I said, okay, well, let's get this done. And in the midst of that, I tried to get my grandchild from school. I ended up getting stuck up at the school for about 10, 15 minutes, unbeknownst to myself that she was already gone. Then I get to the place to get my breaks, to get to where they need to be assembled by my son. Thank goodness for my son right now and my uncle. And as they are trying to get the brakes on, they discover that they are the wrong brakes that was given to me. So now it's getting close to the time, and I'm like, George, I don't know, it's getting, I'm stressing. And he calmed me down a little bit. And then I had to get back with Anthony and let him know, okay, I'll be there. I'm going. I'll be there. I'll be there about 5:30, 5:45. I'll be there. Soon as I call my daughter, I'm waiting on her to come and get me. She's got stuff going on. So now I'm stressing her out a little bit, I'm sure, to stop what she's doing to come and get me. She gets me here. Then we get here. And now we're unable to do the show in the proper manner that we normally do. And George has been so grateful to try to make it work so that we can still put this show on, because not only are we stressing out, he's probably stressing out. Would you like to share a little bit of your anxiety about this moment today, George?
You've been stressing everybody out today.
I think so. And that's the thing. When people have stress,
you stress other people.
Yes, and I really didn't need to do that. I'm sorry, y'all.
And that's all in the way that we engage with the things. Some of us have matured to understanding that life is going to be like, and it's going to slap many times. But that's the beauty about life. At least you're getting slapped. At least you're not sitting up there, not
feeling the pain or feeling
involved. So for me, life is always testing me. Sometimes I get up and wonder, why did life choose to deal me the hand it dealt? It's like you gave me all the cards that didn't have a value. But
get all tools.
Gotta figure out how to make it work. And you know, you calling and having your issue was not an issue. It was more of an opportunity to find a solution to, because we have a goal here. You know,
exactly.
This is Flint, Michigan. We've been, us as a city, as a community, have been dealt all tools. You know, and so we got to figure out every day how we're gonna make those tools turn into king, queens, and nations. And so with that, we do what we can. And then when we do what we can, we do greater things than people that have all the resources. Because we're making it, getting it out the mud.
Getting it out the mud. And I like that you said that, because one of the things I mentioned before a while ago was, what's the difference between school and life?
Between school and life?
Yes. In school, you are taught a lesson and then given a test. In life, you are given a test that teaches you a lesson. And I learned a lesson today. Every level that I'm talking about, like I always say, every level there's a devil. And the devil that was riding in my level tried to sneak out onto other people. And I have to be mindful of that. And I think that we as Americans, or just people in general, we have to be mindful of our own stressful ways before we cause somebody else to have the stress. Because I probably could have really just had everybody spaz out today, because I was really determined to be here and do this. And then we got, just like what Anthony said, when we got here, we still ran into technical difficulties. So it wasn't like it was anything that we had to overwhelm ourselves about. We're here, we're breathing, we're happy. I'm calmer now, just so you know, people. I'm calmer.
Yeah, you know, and that's interesting that you say that, because you're absolutely correct about that. When you're stressing, you find a way, whether it's intentional or not, but it shifts your stress to people.
Yes.
When you called me, or when you text me, you said that we talked about me being here.
Yes.
And then I look back at the text messages and we ain't said nothing about that. But you sounded like your anxiety was kind of high.
Yeah.
But it caused me to, raise mine and, try to do what I need to do to get here. Because I definitely wanted to be here. But yeah, and that happens a lot when you rushing to get somewhere, you rushing for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then you get there and you still like,
gotta wait.
Hurry up and do nothing.
Yeah, hurry up and wait.
Hurry up and wait. Yes, hurry up and wait. And I feel we did some hurry up, and then we waited. We waited patiently for George F. Grundy II to get it together, make sure that it can still happen with these cool little microphones we got on and everything.
I did my best.
You did.
Good job, George.
You did a very good job. And again, that's what Out of the Mud Inc. is all about.
Yeah. James
James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and George F. Grundy II. And I'm not sure of any other affiliated, but everybody who is on this platform, everybody, all of y'all, everybody, every show, I know that I respect what you all do. And I know that they respect what you all do. Let's just keep on doing this, making it happen out of the mud.
Well, we're doing it for each other.
We are.
Hey, George, is there any reason why she calls your entire driver's license name?
Wow. My whole government.
All
of that's how I have it so when I was doing a lot of public events and things like that, I pretty much branded myself so people could say my whole name, because I'm a second.
Okay.
So the junior part of it, I changed that probably in high school, or it's still junior, but I added the second because I thought it was more
prestige.
Yeah, prestigious or something like that, more like Esquire-ish.
Okay. Okay.
So
But you were
George F. Grundy II.
Oh, the second, but you're actually a junior.
I'm
Same
actually-
thing.
I'm both. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I had a question about that.
Yeah.
Not about George's, but when you
Why I mentioned that, it's like an infomercial.
no, but I'm saying like when you wait, let me think of how it goes. So how people call your great aunt or great uncle.
Okay.
How do you become great without? How do you skip over grand?
So you have a great.
You have a father, a grandfather, and a great grandfather. But then if it's your aunt or uncle, you have a uncle, then your great uncle, and you skip over grand.
and it just doubles with the great greats.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. I never thought about that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're gonna have to Google it and then bring
Yeah,
it back next time.
that might somebody out there might be want to know about that. I do. We got to research that. Why is that? You're right.
Let me add this to here. This is Out of the Mud's mission statement. The mission of Out of the Mud Media is to uplift and empower individuals and the community through impactful storytelling, creative content, and community engagement.
All right. Out of the Mud. That sounds very well. I like that. I feel I'm a part of that because
You are.
that's what I do on my own. And then I was lucky enough to meet these nice gentlemen to be able to express this on this platform. And I enjoy speaking with you on this platform and looking forward to making something happen at the Urban Cafe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, we're gonna collaborate on a little bit of something because I think that it will be a good community awareness. And it will bring a good, noble-minded amount of people. Because one thing I'm starting to realize is people are starting to read again.
Okay.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
People are reading again. And I think it's because everybody's afraid of that AI. I'm afraid of AI. You never know what you're really looking at with this AI. But there's nothing wrong with reading it in black and white. So it's a difference for me. So I think a lot of people are getting back to getting their own mentality and thoughts by reading instead of looking, because seeing ain't believing with this AI.
And fact checking. You have to fact check.
And fact checking. Yes.
Well, I don't know how deep you all get into politics, but politics is starting to challenge you. Challenge seeing is believing.
Yes.
Because we see stuff, and then they'll make you think, you didn't just see that, or you didn't just hear that. When I just heard you say that, but you.
Yeah.
Mandela effect.
Is that what they call that?
When, like the Berenstein and the Berenstein Bears, or when something you thought was something like Shazam, when Sinbad played Shazam, they said it didn't never existed, or Sex in the City instead of Sex and the City. So,
okay.
Or either like I said, the Berenstain versus Berenstein.
I ain't hip to that.
So the Mandela effect. So it's similar to that. What you're saying.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, I got something I wanted to mention before we got a little bit off track and added about our own stressful things. Cooking. Do you think that when people are cooking, if they're stressed out, overwhelmed, full of anxiety, that whatever they make, no matter what it is, it just don't taste as good as it used to when they would make it, when they're full of love and calmness and caring? I'm going to say, the reason why I say this, because I one time made something when I was upset. And I know I can cook this item. And I didn't even like it. And I felt that it was just full of negative energy. It was, I probably dashed a little more because I had the Coke bottle effect going on or something, and I feel that when I'm more calm and I'm listening to music, or I just read something nice, or I just wrote a good poem that took just everything out of me and made me feel refreshed when I cook, I think that's the best meal I ever make.
Well, I mean, energy transfers.
There we go.
Whether it's negative or positive.
We witnessed that today.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought about. I've had some meals that were, at restaurants too.
Yes.
That
I
were
was just gonna say, how do we know what's wrong with that cook?
less than desirable? But yeah, you don't know what's going on in the kitchen. You know what I mean? So yeah, if people's, and I think that you could speak about that on just about anything, more than
subject.
cooking. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
again, anxiety and stress.
Yeah. You could notice, like even on the radio. I mean, if the disc jockey is not in the greatest mood, you know, some of the songs that they play, it's different. So yeah, it's a.
You know, it's funny you said it because one day I was listening to the radio and I was like, "Oh, he mad at his woman or something."
Oh yeah, because it transfers. Yeah, you play some stuff, man. You be like, man, you know.
Yes,
and
yes,
it's places that they're normally energetic, but you know, when people have stuff going on, and you got to respect that because you know life happens and stuff happens, and you know, it could make you do things that you don't normally do, or more salt than you would normally put in the meat.
I'm a little salty.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, just doing what you do. Yeah, I think that a lot of things, like you said, just like I say, it's poetry in everything we do.
Yeah.
Poetry in the way you walk, the way you dress, the way you talk, the way you cook, the way you eat, all these things. Energy transfers. I was telling somebody, I think I mentioned it on the show. If somebody walked in my house and they had bad energy, I always look at my pictures on the wall. If they're shifted, then I know somebody with bad energy shouldn't be in here.
What's the old saying that said it's 90% mental and 10% physical?
No, I don't know. It ain't mental in my head if I'm looking at something crooked that was straight before a person came in the house.
Wait a minute now. They cause your stuff on the wall to move?
That's maybe it's a little bit what he said, but I'm just saying, I've hands down, anybody who knows me know that. If somebody in my house, I don't know if it is not OCD, but you know, you hang up something, you want it to be straight, it looks good, it's straight. Somebody come over, and when they leave, I have a habit. I got this from my grandmother. Like if someone was in my living room, I look at my pictures on the wall, and if they're not crooked or like off center, then I know ain't nobody's bumping up to them, touching them.
But do you look at them like before company comes?
I would say no. I'm only going off of what I know it looks like when I'm in there. Like if I'm in the living room watching TV, every once in a while I might glance. I look at something like, oh, you know, I might want to put something in the corner right there or whatever. And then I might leave out the living room. And then hours later or days later, somebody else come over and be in there.
Do you use sage? You ever use sage?
I never.
You familiar with it? Right?
Yes, I am.
You, George?
No, sir.
You're not familiar with it? Or
I'm familiar with it, but no, I don't. So I'm like this. I only know about God what my parents and what the church has taught me about God. So I don't even understand or know based on outside of what was taught to me, what I'm accepting into my body or my spirit or my mind. So if I only know so much about the God that I've been taught about, why am I going to add other things that I know even less about? Just because it's a trend where people are saying stuff where they talk about his ancestors and stuff like that. So some ancestors I may not want in my vicinity.
Yeah. I mean, I don't.
But I get what you're saying.
No, I don't do it. But there was a young lady who had rented the Urban Cafe for an event, and a friend of hers who was helping her decorate, she walked through the building with sage, and I'm not really up on sage, so I kind of thought it was disrespectful. I thought you should ask.
She should have
before you start burning stuff. You know, because I'm not really sure about your spirit. You know what I mean? And you bringing the stuff in there, but you know, some people live by that, man, and they just really.
I live by the words of God, like he said.
A lot of the stuff is biblical text or Abrahamic text. So you know, burning of sage and then astrology, astronomy, all that stuff is biblical also. And depending on I can't remember who it was. There were prophets that went and spoke to, you know, the seers or the people that did stuff.
Saw the visions.
But it wasn't something that was practiced on a regular basis. You know, so
that's in the Bible about sage.
Yeah, I believe so. I'll look it up and I'll send it.
I just know that the older that I get, the more and more I realize that I have had stress and anxiety and impatientness longer than I want to keep carrying it. And I want to figure out ways, you know, like I was saying, my son said to me, you know, when we was kids, you would have been got after us. You were sitting here in these grandbabies. I was like, they got the better version of me. I'm more calmer. I'm reading into things more. I'm looking at it in a different light.
Well, you know, let me ask y'all this about stress relief.
Okay.
what if your stress relief is a anxiety boost for somebody else? Because some people bring their animals around as a reliever of stress. And my sister, for example, has a phobia is not a strong enough word for how she feels about cats. But if it's she goes bananas if a cat is around. If she see a cat, she just
I'm like that with
crazy.
butterflies.
With butterflies, right? So what if it's a stress reliever for me, and we happen to be in the same?
You asked me how would I handle?
How you handle it? Like I don't need butterflies, but I'm just saying if for the young lady with the sage, that was a stress reliever for her, I guess.
But it's stressful. It was stressful.
It's stressful for me because I didn't know what's the meaning behind it.
Right.
Was.
You didn't know what kind of voodoo she was.
I didn't know what kind of spirit she was bringing. You know what I'm saying? But it was a reliever for her. So what do you do when how do you balance that?
And how are you afraid of butterflies?
It's a
how
story.
Did that happen?
This is how that happened. My brothers were tyrants, and they would catch caterpillars and moths and put them in a jar, or the little fireflies that light up. And one day, my middle brother convinced my little brother to call me outside, and he locked me out. My brother went around. He had all these things. He caught in a jar, and he dumped them down in the back of my shirt. And as they were flapping and flapping, and I'm screaming, and they're coming up out of the front of my shirt, the back, and I'm banging my back, and the pollen inside of the butterflies caused me to break out. I had to go to the hospital to get a Benadryl shot.
Wow.
So ever since then, I've been nervously sprayed of them. And then I found out I'm allergic to pollen and latex, so I don't want to be a part of it. And it just triggered in my mind. So I've got a scar across my knee from running from a butterfly, and I fell. And my son was with me when he was about 2 years old, and now he's 33. He's afraid of butterflies as well because I caused that.
How long ago was that?
About me with butterflies?
Yeah.
Since I was probably 12.
I mean, so I don't know how old you are. But
I'll be 54.
So butterflies would stress you out. So if butterflies was my spirit animal and to calm me down, you would just leave.
No, I'm going to answer that now because he was just saying something about how would I handle that. Well, this is how I handle it. If it's not real, it still bothers me, just so you know. But because I know it's not real, I try not to focus on it and look at it. Because when I look at it, it's something about the way they look that freaks me out. And because I remember them coming out of my shirt and on me and landing on me. And I don't like that.
Ooh, I know some people with butterfly tattoos.
Yeah, I would never want to touch that wherever it's at. I wouldn't even look at them. I wouldn't want to touch that. That doesn't appeal to me. And I know people that got something like on their neck, like right there, like blue ones everywhere. And I'm like, I just don't look. And I find comfort in ignoring it and looking away and thinking about something else.
So what about clowns? Are you cool with
clowns? But my son is afraid of clowns. So he's afraid of clowns and butterflies.
How old is your son?
33. So
never go to a horror show with clowns and butterflies.
Or to the circus.
He won't go to the circus. He never liked the circus ever. And when I was married, my husband used to say, well, we're going to the Detroit Zoo, take the kids. We're going to, he got this plan to take me through the butterfly house.
Oh, wow.
Woo! That was the day he regretted. Because I lost my mind at this butterfly house. I could have got thrown out of the city of Detroit because I could not handle it.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a lawn service, and I was driving a zero turn. I was good at it. Ran across a patch of butterfly, and they harvest in the ground. And I drove over it, and all these colorful yellow, white, blue, pink, orange butterflies just started flying out of this little bush thing that I ran over. Before I know it, I done tore up the zero turn. I done ran into this lady's covering for her basement, the little window covers for the basement, broke all of them, chipped a little bit of the brick on the side of her house.
Oh, wow.
Destroyed the casing that goes over the cutting, the blades.
Over the Reading Rainbow song.
It's when you start doing that kind of damage, that kind of costly damage, it's time for you to get over that.
Yeah, well.
Oh, wow.
what ended up
It's time for you to
happening
get
is,
up.
But
Listen,
I
listen.
tried.
How
You
did she do?
zero
I
tolerance.
tried. Give me support. Give me support.
Well,
I tried.
well, you know, sometimes you got to face stuff head on.
I tried that.
So
That's how I got that cut on my knee.
So let me tell you about, you know, my situation. I don't really. I had an elevator accident.
Yes.
At some point, I had to just. That was part of my therapy. I had to just go and sit in front of an elevator, and then get a little closer to the elevator, and then push the button on the elevator, and then at some point you just be like, you know what? I'm not gonna let this elevator beat me. Because I'm not going to walk these stairs on the 9th floor. I'm going to get on this elevator.
So you had to get out the basement.
I just had to get out of the basement.
Okay,
I need to get out of the basement. Own way sometimes.
Yes.
So, you know what I'm saying? So at some point, you got to say, you know what? These are beautiful
creatures.
Insects or whatever. Are they insects?
Creatures.
They're insects.
Whatever they are.
I just think of the Reading Rainbow song. Butterflies in the sky.
Oh, sing the song. Sing the song, George. Sing it.
Go,
Take a look.
That don't bother me.
But if you if you tore up a $3,000-4,000 lawnmower,
I did.
So
and the person's house.
So
and we had to give them
$10,000
3 free cuts plus pay her $200.
How much damage, if you had to put a price on it?
I would say almost $1,000 in damage.
So you didn't tear the lawnmower up then?
No, I bent in, you know, the little metal part that goes over the blade.
Yeah, the deck.
I dented the whole deck in where we had to get a whole new deck. You know, I know how to work on stuff, and he knew how to do it too.
You destroyed the
window coverings for the basement.
Over the
two
window.
of them.
2 of those.
They were about like $60 each.
Okay, that's $120.
And dented in the metal that goes around the ground.
Do you think you'll ever face them and just say, I just can't let something that
a butterfly
harmless beat me?
I'm gonna tell you, I have been talking to people like I'm talking to you, and I'll see one cross the road, and I will stop talking to you and look at that butterfly till it goes
you can't
wherever.
See it no more, huh?
Yes, because 9 times out of 10, and anybody can vouch for this for me, they always come to try to land on me. And everybody's like, oh,
but
that's your ancestors.
To be a good sign.
And they say that. But because I'm afraid, I run. Like I literally was at I call her my mom. My mom passed away when I was 16, but I have another lady that I consider my mom. And I was in her garage, and she goes fishing a lot. She has all these fishing poles up, and she had her garage open, and we were getting food out of her deep freezer, and doing what kids would do. She's me and her daughter, and we were grocery shopping at her house, mind you. Next thing I know, I just happened to turn around, and a butterfly flew past the front of the garage. Before I can turn around good, I didn't already ran into all of her fishing poles.
Oh wow!
Knocked over the garbage can. Before my reaction. I can't.
Listen, your bills is steady going up. You know what I mean? You done tore up lawnmowers and fishing poles and stuff. You got $10,000-15,000 worth of collateral damage over some butterflies.
I'm deatrifyingly afraid of them.
Okay.
I need to be hypnotized.
And I understand that. But what harm can a butterfly do to you?
Well, it caused me to break out. I broke out from it, and I have this issue with this breakout that it gets.
Do you know that there are some fabric? There's some wool. It's hair. It's a lot of stuff.
Medicine that break you out.
That could cause you to break out.
Yes.
But you face those.
I actually stopped taking any kind of medication to put in my body when I stopped drinking. I said I was done putting stuff in my body. So
you don't take medicine?
Nope. I stopped, and my doctor is mad at me. I talked about that on one of my levels. My doctor was mad at me. And I told him, I said, you want to put me back on something that I've been off of, wean my own self off of. You want me to get back on it? You're going to put me in a cardiac arrest. He was like, what if I don't have the leg pain no more? I don't have the headaches.
So what is it?
My blood pressure's not out of control.
I just had this conversation with somebody today. So what do you go to the doctor for if you don't take their advice?
Well,
I mean, like, what's the purpose of you going there?
Well, my daughter's going to school to be a doctor and a nurse, and she was all over me about my health.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, like my grandmother would always teach me and all her other kids, I'm her grandbaby though, having insurance is just in case. Just in case I get sick, I need to be paying this insurance. You don't get a rebate on it. You don't get a refund. A doctor can only tell you what's wrong with you from what you tell him what you're ailing from. If you figure out what you're ailing from, why do you need to tell a doctor to prescribe something for you to make yourself better?
So why even go?
that you go for I would say like for internal checkup. That's what I would say. For like if a woman needed a pap smear or a guy needed his prostate checked out or something like that, then I would say stuff like that. But you don't need medicine to have your prostate checked out. You don't need medicine to have a pap smear. This is what I'm talking about.
You might not need it to have it checked out, but if there's something wrong with it, you may need medicine.
Well, then you better figure out what you've been doing to mess your body up, because when you were born into this world, you wasn't born with problems inside of you. You were born with all the tools. Well, some people are born with defects.
Yeah.
Because of what their parents put in their body that put into their body.
Well, whatever the reason.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so why even? But again, why go to a doctor if you're not going to
follow their prescription wise or their
advice?
Their advice.
Yeah.
Well, I would say, because you always want a second opinion about something. I can't depend on my own opinion because I'm not a professional, right? I can only go off of what my body feels and what I feel. So when I call and make a doctor's appointment, if I go in there and say, I'm having a bunch of headaches, and they call me in and they say, oh, what's your headaches from? I've been stressing out every day about this at work and this and this and that, and I'm causing myself this. Oh, well, here's some medication. Now I'm addicted to this medication that they're giving me, when all I had to do was figure out a way to not to be so stressed out.
Okay, but I'm still asking you, like, if you're going to figure out the way, then why go to the doctor?
That's what I'm saying. I would only go if I wanted a second opinion from them. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not biased in knowing what their advice might be. I just might not want, okay, you go to your friend and you talk to your friend about an issue you may be having. You're only talking to them because you want somebody to talk to, and you want some type of, whether they're in that profession or they've been down that road before, something that they experienced, you want them to give you their best judgment or information, right? That's just your friend. You're listening to them. I mean, but that don't mean you're going to take that advice.
Yeah, I got a couple friends I wouldn't take the least bit of advice from, especially some health stuff. So
that's true. But I'm just saying, in general, being practical about it. You want a second opinion. I can't say that I'm right at everything that I think about myself. But I know if I'm not hurting on the inside and there's nothing ailing me, and then somebody says, well, you know, like how you're saying, why make a doctor's appointment? Well, I want to hear what the doctor might have to say.
Yeah, you know, I know a lot of them are pill pushers, but sometimes
for money, drugs,
sometimes that, you know, it's stuff you need. I mean, or it would help you with your situation.
I haven't had a situation yet that the doctor was able to help me with a pill.
Oh, well, praise God.
Other than having a baby, and then the good Lord took that away from me after I birthed my two
praise God.
And probably did something wrong by not having a couple of them if I had the choice.
Well, you gotta trust. You gotta have a doctor or a physician that you trust.
Yes, that's true.
You know, you trust that they're not just pill pushers.
Exactly.
But
you know,
I don't know how we got on this subject.
I don't know. But hey, it's life. Life be lifing.
Yeah, y'all got people looking. It's almost, we got a significant amount of people looking. So
look at the time.
Yeah,
we were supposed to be done.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you all are listening and looking and getting entertained. Well, we're talking some real facts here today, like real. These things that happened to us today was not planned at all. But we figured out a way to get through it, and then we started another level of stress.
So you know, sound like it's gonna always be some level of stress.
Every level there's a devil.
Yeah, you know.
But thank you all for tuning in. Wish I can see right now what you all had to say, but keep on tuning in. Keep on stopping by. We're out of the mud, Inc. James Mayfield, the greatest Mayfield, and George F. Grundy II. And I'm Terralisa McBride with RBT Snaps and Chats.
And I'm Anthony Allen, the first.
The what?
The first.
Yeah. See how you just did.
Yeah. I want a long name too.
Right.
Yeah.
Put some emphasis on it.
Some emphasis, put some respect on my name.
That's right.
So Tara Week said, yeah, snaps and chats. You go, girl. Congratulations to you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
I don't like how you said that.
I said it how it was.
Yeah, let her say it. I don't like that. Pause. No, wow. No baby lotion.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna have to talk about that one day too, about these current cases.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people, I mean, I don't follow it at all, but I hear it. What you got over there, George?
Shakita Brooks.
Okay.
Confirmation.
Confirmation. I'm not sure for what, but thank you.
And Shakita Brooks for clarity.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. Appreciate you. All right. Well, as we always say, we're coming to the end of our show today. Thank you again for tuning in. Appreciate that. I'm not sure when the next time Mr. Anthony Allen is going to be available, but I'd love to have you back again because I think we got somewhere on something. We didn't get a chance to touch most of these questions here, but we got this.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to make another show for y'all specifically because y'all go back and forth like a tennis match.
Hey, that's what it's supposed to be about, right?
Yeah.
We have a good banter.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, thank you.
You sound like a preacher though, that you didn't get to all of your message.
Get my message out.
And get all your message out.
I got some words to get out here.
Tell them to come next week.
Hey, see y'all next Monday. All right, February 3rd, bringing in the new year with the new month. I'm sorry, not the new year, but we're still in the new year though, right?
That's something too. Is there when is the last day to say Happy New Year?
Oh,
is that time up?
I think it's been up.
I don't think so.
When would you?
The new year.
First, second week of January.
Third day.
Maybe we should talk about that. No, I just seen a lady that I haven't seen since August of 2024. When I just saw her 2 days ago, I hugged her and said Happy New Year.
No. So what if you hadn't seen her to July?
I don't know if I would have said Happy New Year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we gotta.
So let's say
we gotta get a cutoff.
End of January.
It's starting to sound weird.
Think so?
Yeah, when you hear it today, it's like this.
So then what do you say?
Yeah, what do you think?
Oh man, I probably give you about the 4th or 5th.
I said the third.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay, a third. I'm with you on that, but today's the what? What's today's day?
Shakita Brooks said no, April.
All right,
April.
All right.
Who would say Happy New Year in
April? First real day of the new year. I just read about that.
May.
It's April 1st, the first day of the new year, and that's why they consider it April Fool's Day because the Pope and them changed it to be January 1st because of the solstice or something like that.
Yeah.
And they said because that's why they say April Fool's Day on the 1st because people who still consider that the first of because that's when the trees blossom, that's when the grass grows, that's when the harvest and all these things. They call that the first of the new year, the new moon or whatever.
Where you get that from?
I read it on one of my little Bible things I be looking at online.
Speaking of that stuff, we were talking about the sage.
Mm-hmm.
So you asked me biblically. So Hebrews 9:4. Hebrews 9:4. Say it again because I turned this mic off, so I don't know if they hear.
Hebrews 9:4.
So, which had golden altar of incense and the gold covered ark of the covenant. This ark contained the golden jar of manna, Aaron's staff that had budded, and the stone tablets of the covenant. So the incense, the part of it is the incense. And then we're gonna go to Exodus 25:6.
I didn't understand none of that.
I didn't catch it much either.
Y'all telling me I read in Chinese?
What version is that?
King James, I believe. So olive oil for the light, spices for the anointing, oil and anointing oil, and for the fragrant incense. So still talking about this because sage is considered incense.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So and then you got Malachi 1:11. You have Psalms 141:2, Revelations 5:8, and Revelations 18:3.
What's the Revelations 5 and 8 one?
Revelations 5:8. Revelation 5:8. It says, and when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. The incense, the bowl of incense, which are the prayers
and the
of
incense
God's
is supposed to be the sage.
The prayer, right? Incense sage.
Wow.
All falling in. Frankly, all those things are falling in the same.
Mm. I didn't know that. Mm. I wrote that Hebrews 9:4 down to check that out though.
Mm.
But that April Fool's Day thing.
I'm going to see that in a different
version. That's what I do too. When I'm reading, I like to go look at a different version of it because I'm glad you said that before we get off air. That's why I write like this. It's a different version of what is in the Bible for people who may not read the Bible every day. But it's a lot of things in here that, because all my works come straight from the Bible and my teachings from the pastor. And what I've learned by reading, my perception of it and putting it out into the world. So once again, let me show these things here. There we go. Letters to my Lord, who am I? Everybody wants to know their purpose here on earth. Faith through poetry, God's will. As long as it's God's will, there's a way. And then my very first one, the feelings of life with all its ups and downs, life as I know it to be. These are things that I write about coming up of age and learning about God. So, but again, thank you all. Here we go to an end here. RBT, snaps and chats, over and out. Thank you.